Hi folks, it's Nella here, yet again. Sorry to be spamming your feeds like this, but I just realized that I haven't introduced Emmilinda to you. Um, she's actually quite different in my collection because she isn't a ball-jointed doll like everyone else. Emmilinda is a Bradley doll, um, which was which a very particular type of doll. She has a wire armature, which is then padded, and then covered with fabric. Um, they are manufactured from the mid-50s to the 1980s, and they were typically sold in drugstores, and they're also given away as prizes at fairs and that sort of thing. Um, so she was never an expensive doll. She actually has her original price tag on her, and she was originally less than $7. But the story of how I got her is actually a bit of a funny story. I used to spend every summer with my granny down at our family's cottage. And one of the things I always looked forward to every summer was the one or two visits into the next closest town. It's a pretty big deal to be able to actually go into town and check out the stores. And and one of the things, we always went to the thrift stores. And it was during one of these trips that I found Emmilinda. This was right, I think must have been 2009, because I had Drew, and I had actually brought Drew along with me, because I had brought Flair a previous year to a different store, and I talked to the store owner about my dolls, and I said, well, hey, I'm saving up for another doll. So I brought Drew along into these thrift stores, hoping to find something that would work out as a prop or something I could repurpose. I went into this thrift store that my granny and I had never been into. It's connected to a restaurant. So we got in there, and I kind of looked around, and I had Drew with me, and I saw this cool little chest of, it wasn't chest dress, it was a little box for holding jewelry, but it kind of looks like a treasure chest. So I went, oh, that's really cool. I might get that for Drew. And my granny was looking through the records, so I'm just kind of milling about, looking at all these things, and one of the employees, the one that was on the floor, went up to me and started asking questions about Drew, because she'd never seen anything like Drew before. So I told her about ball-jointed dolls, and I mentioned how I like dolls. And the employee went, oh, have you noticed this one? And I hadn't, because I hadn't really been looking. Usually at thrift stores there's a lot of porcelain dolls, and those don't really interest me. I admire some of the artistry, but it's not what I want to collect. But I kind of looked up, and the employee had pulled down from one of the higher shelves this doll. And the employee was telling me about how they have no clue what she is, and I went like, oh, I really like her face, and they, yeah, she's got a unique face, and and the employee showed me how she saw the price tag, and I went, well, I don't recognize that store name, and the employee went like, yeah, some of the older workers mentioned how that company used to operate in Canada, but doesn't anymore. And she also played the song, because Emmilinda here is a music box doll as well. There we go. And she rotates. I'm just going to put her on the table because she's just going to keep moving my arms, and that's just going to be a bit distracting. So the employee and I started talking about dolls, and I decided to get Emmilinda because I had no clue what she was, but I just really liked how she looked. And I actually got her for about, I think, $4 or $5, because she is quite badly stained. At some point in her history, she must have gone wet, and her red dress has bled upwards, so it kind of looks like she's burnt her entire neck. There we go, now she stopped, I can hold her again. But there was also a funny thing, when I put her on the counter to buy her, the employee went and got one of their co-workers. And the co-worker who was ringing me up went, "Oh, Linda is finally being sold." Now, Linda? And they went, "Oh, yeah, well, she hasn't sold, she'd been sitting essentially in the back room unsold, for so long that the employees had given her a name." And I went, "Well, actually, I was thinking she looks kind of more like an Emily." And they went, "Wait a moment. Emily? Linda? Emmilinda." So I gave her a name right there. Yeah, but that's how I got Emmilinda. And Emmilinda is now a character in the Curiosity Shop. She's one of the living statues, and one of her pastimes is singing, which of course is a reference to the music box. But she works the night shifts, so Finn's the only one that interacts with her. But yeah, so that's who the weird non-ball jointed doll in my previous video was. Bye everyone.